Hello everyone, I'm Lao Gao. Today we're going to talk about a post that has recently become very popular on a foreign forum, specifically about Matt Damon. This incident happened on November 10th, 2024, at 5:50 p.m. US time, when someone posted on the world's largest forum, Reddit, which attracted a lot of attention and discussion. The title was "My Uncle Mark Never Existed." The poster, Amanda, mentioned that she and her family have gone through something very strange recently, which is hard to put into words and can't be explained. The reason was that a few months ago the whole family held a gathering and everyone went to the aunt's house. His uncle, my granduncle, and uncle all brought their own children. There were a total of 10 adults. There were also 10 children present, which encompassed his cousins, making a grand total of 10 kids. His relatives lived in close proximity, all within a 2-hour drive. These children were raised together and are all exceedingly familiar with one another. On the day when everyone gathered at their aunt's residence, they organized a barbecue event in the backyard. The adults were comfortably seated around a large table, engaging in conversation, while the children were joyfully eating, drinking, and playing, creating a lively atmosphere. Just as everyone was thoroughly enjoying the party, an unexpected incident occurred involving his aunt, the one who was hosting the gathering. She brought up a burnt hot dog, and Amanda's mom laughed, saying, "Is this a family trait? How come things get burnt as soon as they reach your family?" She was actually teasing that the dad's family, including his aunt and dad, aren't good at cooking. At this juncture, Uncle displayed a perplexed expression and inquired, "What do you imply by inherited?" Mom elaborated, "See, he charred the hot dog once more. Didn't Matt scorch the hot dog the previous time as well? Your family seems to have a knack for doing this." At this juncture, Dad interjected and remarked, "Isn't Matt a brother from your side of the family? How did he end up being considered a brother from our side?" Mom rolled her eyes at Dad and replied dismissively, "You're attempting to shift the blame onto our family, aren't you?" Amanda was confused and said she really couldn't remember whether Uncle Matt was her dad's brother or her mom's brother. Moreover, the author emphasized that their whole family gets along so well that they all call each other brothers, regardless of whose side they are on, so they don't usually differentiate. They say, if it's a relative from mom's side, it's also a relative from dad's side. Overseas, indeed. Uncles from either mom's or dad's side are just uncle, so you can't tell which family side he's from. The issue continues. Everyone is passing around saying Matt belongs to this family, and when you try to say Matt is from this side, it's like everyone's just pushing the idea around and laughing. Mom told Amanda, "Don't listen to your dad's nonsense. Matt is your uncle." As soon as she said that, half of the people who were laughing stopped. Then the aunt spoke up and said, "Hey, Matt isn't part of your family. How did he become part of ours? Did Matt come to this gathering? No, he didn't." The issue was clear. Everyone went silent, exchanging amused looks. At that moment, Amanda's mom took out her phone, scrolling through her photos, and quickly found a family picture. What's in the photo? There's Mandela's mom, aunt, uncle, uncle's wife, grandpa, and grandma, but no Matt. This is our school. There's no Matt here. Mom scrolls through her phone, and everyone around takes out their phones to eat, all trying to find a photo of Matt, but no one has one. So they start guessing that Matt might not be a family brother, but rather someone's spouse, like an uncle-in-law. Aunt, incorrect. Perhaps it's the attire that conveys this sort of impression. Both uncle and aunt's husband were present, so it's not them.
Does anyone happen to have his contact number?
You mentioned an important point. Amanda just met this Uncle Matt last week and even sent him a text message. She immediately took out her phone, trying to find your message, and ended up finding Uncle Matt's number.
Yes, it has indeed been reported.
Yes, I reported it, but they couldn't show any proof of Matt's existence.
They weren't together.
There was a photo taken, and a relative from his family took out a picture and said, "Isn't this Matt?" It was a photo of a tall, bald man from the back. When this photo was shown, people around said, "How can this be Matt? Matt has red hair." Longer hair, and Amanda was quite certain that several of her Uncle Matts were comparatively shorter in stature, which alarmed my entire family. In the collective memory of everyone, Matt appears differently, and they frequently maintain communication. Just the previous week, they encountered Guangman, and Amanda inquired, "Who possesses his phone number? Please give him a call." The adults replied, "Oh, Matt is currently at work. Do not disturb him. Contact him after work to inquire." However, Amanda's message conversation has mysteriously vanished. Indeed, nobody possesses it. "Hey, Mr. Western, when did adults start scrolling phones for numbers?" Amanda said the text she sent to her uncle disappeared, and his contact info was gone too. When she mentioned this, everyone worried, saying, "I don't have his number either." Not only was the phone number missing, but all evidence of his existence vanished from everyone's phones, completely gone. It seems as though this individual never existed, yet everyone distinctly recalls his presence. Consequently, while the adults were fervently discussing what Matt genuinely appeared like, the sun was nearing its descent. Typically, at this hour, everyone would proceed to their homes, but they collectively chose to remain. Therefore, on this particular day, they aimed to determine who Matt truly is. Accordingly, the adults initially settled the children to sleep. At that time, the children were sleeping in the basement and they would go down there to play. Meanwhile, the adults were sitting in the living room, drinking coffee and discussing with him. Yuyaman was the closest to Uncle Matt among all the children. Therefore, he was retained to engage in discussions with the adults, even though his exact age wasn't specified. Initially, to collect all the details regarding Uncle Matt, everyone was instructed to begin documenting on paper what they could recall about Matt's physical appearance. Certainly, particulars such as the last occasion they encountered him and their connection with him, regardless of how significant or minor, can all be documented. Indeed, after compiling everyone's information, it became evident that everyone's recollections of Matt were distinct. Even for the identical event, where multiple individuals were present with Matt, their memories of one another were precise. But as soon as it pertained to Matt, it diverged. However, among all this information, there is one piece that is consistent. Both Dad and his relatives unanimously believe that Matt is a relative from Mom's side, while Mom's relatives unanimously believe that Matt is a relative from Dad's side. Amanda's mom also clearly mentioned that she remembers one time. Our dad and Uncle Matt went fishing together, and when the fishing rod was cast, the hook knocked Matt's hat off the tree. There's this interesting thing. At that moment, Amanda's dad said, yes, you always say it was you and Matt who went. I wasn't there. This suggests that such an event indeed occurred, yet everyone's recollection of it varies. Given that each person present had distinct memories of Matt, they started contacting their respective family members to inquire if they were familiar with Matt, or had any recollection of him, attempting to discern Matt's origins. At this juncture, the author entertained a notion. Could it be that Matt is, in fact, an absolute stranger? He isn't a relative of any family, yet he simply joins the gathering. Who informed him about it? I don't know who told him, but it made all the relatives think he was from the other side, and there was no discord. It's like crashing a wedding for a free meal. Yes, just eating and drinking for free. Even after calling around, no conclusion was reached. Even if some relatives know Matt, their descriptions of him vary. So after a whole evening, they still couldn't figure out who Matt was. The author said they even started searching for this Matt online later. They couldn't even ascertain Matt's surname. Ultimately, they devised a depiction of Matt's distinctive characteristics. The general consensus is that he is a man who does not have a beard, somewhat tall in stature, and while Amanda perceives him as quite handsome, most people just see him as tall. Fourthly, he is not particularly skilled in mathematics. Fifthly, he has an affinity for Gene Kelly. Amanda mentioned that she observed that the more she attempted to recall Matt's appearance, the more his image seemed to become indistinct, and the more everyone engaged in discussions about information regarding Matt, the more perplexing it became. It's as if Uncle Matt set up a self-destruct program in everyone's impression of him. Once you start trying to dig up information about him, this self-destruct program gets activated. The information about him in your memory becomes less and less, and your memory of him becomes more and more blurred. So, by 9 in the morning, everyone was so tired that they fell asleep on the couch. How many people? 10 adults, plus Tang, 11 people slept for 2 hours. At 11 o'clock, they were woken up by the noise of children who had slept in the basement. The children woke up, and at this time, the aunt, yawning, was about to find something for the children to eat, only to discover all the cookies he had stored disappeared without a trace. At this moment, a child said something that startled the adults. They said that Uncle Matt came last night and brought them a lot of cookies. Everyone could grab the kids and ask each of the 10 children. Some said they saw Uncle Matt, and one said they didn't. They asked this child who saw Uncle Matt if he came to bring them cookies, and he said no, Uncle Matt brought a lot of cookies. We even asked him if we could eat them, and he said we could. Then he played a movie for us and left, saying he was going upstairs to find you.
Did the other kids eat them too?
Cookies? Sometimes they ate them, sometimes they didn't. Haha, that's how it is. After hearing this, the adults started searching the house, one looking for Matt, and the other for evidence of his existence. And in the end, they found nothing. At this moment, the observant Amanda noticed something. There were 11 people in the living room discussing Matt, yet there were 12 sets of tableware. They were having coffee there. There were 12 sets of birthday tableware. And when we fell asleep on the couch, there were 12 indentations. This indicates that Uncle Matt truly exists and has consistently been present with them. What type of individual is he? Blown out of the pit, correct? 12 pits, and they uncovered an even more astonishing revelation. Amanda's father mentioned he suddenly recalled seeing Matt the previous night. Matt gave him a water glass. But this doesn't make sense. They were discussing where Matt was and why there was no response. Amanda said it was as if this memory had been implanted later. It doesn't make logical sense, as if it was forcibly implanted into their minds. Previously, all the genetic information about Matt was implanted in this manner. To determine whether there was indeed an additional person in the house, everyone lined up. Inform him that regardless of the circumstances, the majority of the feedback suggests that Uncle Matt has not departed. He remains present. Although by that afternoon we still didn't know who Uncle Matt was or where he was. Everyone gradually returned to their respective homes, as they couldn't remain here indefinitely. For Amanda, however, this eerie and unsettling sensation didn't diminish after departing from the antique house. Instead, it grew more intense. She began to persistently attempt to recall certain past experiences with Uncle Matt. The more she remembered, the more some memories appeared particularly peculiar. Previously, she didn't think much of them, but upon careful reflection, they seemed so unusual. For instance, she recalls sitting beside Uncle Matt by a campfire once, and he narrated her a bedtime story. The content was actually the instruction manual for a blender. Before, he didn't think it was strange, but now looking back, it's so bizarre. He also remembers an instance when Uncle Matt showed up at his house in the middle of the night. There was also a time during Christmas when Uncle Matt surprisingly gave a hammer as a Christmas gift. Finally, I remember Uncle Matt once bought a knife and placed it in the back seat of his father's car. Ah, there are these scattered memories.
Memories. Make sure the bedtime story was about a blender, not a meat grinder.
Ah, he mentioned the blender can also grind meat, right? As it got scarier, they thought Uncle Matt might not be a good person, so the family decided to report it to the police. At the station, the police didn't file a case because they couldn't provide any info about Matt's existence. It's all about memories. Amanda said what Matt talked about is like a virus, always trying to change his progress, and it can implant itself into your past experiences. These experiences are there, but he forcefully inserted them, making it a bit eerie. It's a bit eerie, isn't it? So now, a few months have passed since this happened, and it seems like our relatives are no longer concerned about it. They've gradually started treating it as a joke, and at every gathering, they even prepare an extra plate, which is for Matt. The mindset is indeed quite optimistic, isn't it? Regarding Amma, she also perceives that although Uncle Matt appears somewhat peculiar in everyone's recollections, he hasn't actually caused harm to anyone. Following that incident, will he manifest in new occurrences within everyone's memories? Subsequent to that event, perhaps Uncle Matt doesn't appear as frequently, and even if he does, you might not be conscious of it. He was right in front of you, and you didn't realize it at the time. It was just a memory. Later, when you think back, you wonder, hey, how did he appear here? So the more you recall, the scarier it becomes. Amon said he really wants to find out the truth about this matter, so he keeps trying to remember every little detail related to Matt. But the more he recalls, the more distorted and blurry these memories become. It appears that Matt is hindering him from uncovering his true identity, as if once he unveils Matt's secret, something significant might occur. Nevertheless, he is unaware of what that could potentially be, but Amanda mentions he will certainly continue investigating it and is resolute in his determination to solve it. This post is now concluded. So, what exactly is going on here? Let's analyze this situation. Actually, it is somewhat similar to something we talked about a few years ago called the non-existent classmate Pan Bowen. Oh right, this is about the non-existent Uncle Matt. Pan Bowen. Some of you might not remember that incident, so I'll briefly explain. Someone posted a story and it was also a post. He clearly remembers a middle school classmate named Pan Bowen. He recalls all the little details, like being in the same class with Pan Bowen in middle school. Both were English class reps. After starting high school, they were put in different classes. Just days before the college entrance exam, during their final PE class, they played badminton. During the game, by accident, Pan Bowen hit the shuttlecock into a basement window, and it fell down. So they decided to go down to the basement to retrieve the ball. After entering the empty basement, he and Pan Bowen separated. When he came out, Pan Bowen was gone. Back in the classroom, he asked his classmates if they had seen Pan Bowen. At that time, none of his classmates or teachers recognized Pan Bowen or knew of his existence, as if he had never existed. The author also discovered that Pan Bowen had disappeared from his QQ middle school graduation photo. The author expressed feeling fear and confusion about this, and his family thought he was hallucinating at the time. They even took him to the hospital, but the author is sure this isn't an illusion. He clearly remembers Pan Bowen's appearance, family situation, and even his birthday.
Friends are great.
It's been many years, and many of the classmates from middle school separated in high school. He also remembers the singer Pan Bowen liked, and the two of them went to watch a game together. After such a person went to the basement once, they disappeared as if nothing happened. Actually, something similar happened to you. You always mentioned to me that you had a kindergarten classmate with 6 fingers. You said you could really tell me all about it. I asked your mom, and she said no, she has no memory of it and never had contact with that person.
Is that so? I think if such a strange thing happened, I would definitely remember it. If I had met someone with 6 fingers, I probably would never forget it because I often held his hand and counted each finger one by one. Really? Because his hand was very proportionate, just with an extra finger, so at first glance you couldn't tell it was 6-fingered. Okay, is there or not?
Can anyone else confirm this?
Yes, actually, I can even remember his appearance, whether or not there's a second person who remembers him. I was only at that kindergarten for a few days temporarily, then I went to another kindergarten. Every day I would hold his hand and found it very novel, yes. Just like that, holding hands.
Okay, today I will tell you what actually happened.
It's not even that he had 2 fingers of the same length, it's just very natural.
Very natural.
The natural curve, you can't really tell. It was one day he told me he had 6 fingers. That's when you noticed, and that's when I noticed.
The more you talk, the more real it feels, and then you play games.
Whatever it is, I just need to be near him, hold him. Okay, male or female, female. With short hair, a bob cut but shorter, I remember her look.
Actually, I believe it might indeed be true. Why do I think so? Because you possess a distinctive characteristic. Your memories from childhood are. Childhood memories are often clear and real, but as you grow, memory may not be as sharp as it was in childhood. So if it's something from your time in kindergarten, I believe there's a strong likelihood it's true, because I've also inquired with your parents about this, and they mentioned that your memory as a child was exceptionally accurate. About the classmate with 6 fingers, they don't recall. Both hands had 6 fingers.
I can't recall this well. If it's about money, yes.
Maybe both words are from before.
It should be clearer, and likely only a few people can't recall this now.
Those who've seen it should recall, but I read a post online about someone, the one I showed you that day. I don't know if it was real or edited.
Or maybe it's fake, edited by AI. With photoshopping, it's fine, but we should ask if anyone's seen a real 6-finger hand, one that's smooth.
Thinking back, it wouldn't be scary.
If it's very natural, it shouldn't be scary. Very similar.
Just thinking about actually seeing him himself makes me very happy to share it with him.
This situation with Uncle Matt is a bit different from Pan Bowen. Only this person remembers Pan Bowen, whereas Uncle Matt's whole family came in. Regarding this matter, there are a few possibilities. The first is the Mandela effect, also known as collective false memory, which refers to a phenomenon where a group of people share a memory or perception that is inconsistent with the facts. Why this phenomenon occurs is not yet precisely known, but there are some explanations in psychology. The most likely cause is the nature of human memory itself. Human memory is not like a recording. It is reconstructive, meaning that to improve memory efficiency, we usually only remember key information. Other details are reconstructed by the brain during recollection. These reconstructed parts often get distorted due to cognitive bias and external suggestion. The brain might even add details that don't exist. So, why does the brain add or distort these details? It's to make it more reasonable and complete. Since we only remember some important information, if the connecting parts are missing, it feels incomplete and creates a sense of discord. Our brain will automatically fill in the gaps, thus reshaping our memory. This happens when we retrieve the memory, not when we initially remember it. Additionally, memory is closely linked to our cognition. We tend to remember things that align with our understanding and perception more easily. Things beyond our understanding or hard to grasp are tough to recall, so sometimes to remember them, our brain will rationalize them automatically. We generally tend to recall things that align with our perception and understanding. A common example is that numerous individuals remember Mickey Mouse as wearing red suspenders. However, in actuality, there are no suspenders. He simply wears red shorts and has nothing on his upper body. Additionally, Pikachu's tail does not in reality possess black stripes. However, in the majority of individuals' recollections, it does, with the tip appearing black. This implies that numerous memories we hold are not grounded in objective facts, but rather in our perceptions and imaginative interpretations. When this phenomenon occurs among a group of individuals, it has the potential to develop into a collective memory, eventually transforming into a collective memory bias. A significant portion of this arises because a group of individuals receives similar prompts or misinformation, such as everyone viewing a fabricated news story or a film and being influenced or stimulated by it to form some type of incorrect memory. This indicates that everyone simultaneously receives inaccurate information, which leaves a lasting impression and reshapes your memory. Right? It's like a play, really. This is a type of self-perception, info you only need to accept once. Then, you internally rationalize it, constantly washing and reshaping your memory. This collective reshaping doesn't need everyone to accept the error at the same time. If one person accepts wrong info, you might be swayed by them and accept it too. Even if you've never come across the emerging academy, it's due to memory.
Memories can spread socially with things I dislike, and then some friends, well, they keep sending it to me. Keep sending it, often driving me crazy.
They kept suggesting it, and I thought, well, it's fine, and gradually I started to like it.
This could possibly reshape your memory, right, about his image and so on. So essentially, this kind of collective memory bias doesn't require everyone to be exposed to the incorrect information. As long as one person encounters it, they can infect those around them, and the infected person then possesses a memory that shouldn't belong to them because they never encountered the information. It's a completely fabricated memory. It's like someone telling you about this thing. Over time, you will gradually come to believe that you have experienced this event yourself. And this contagious nature spreads outward. During this spreading, it might get distorted and have details added repeatedly. So this kind of contagious memory, Everyone has common parts of this memory, but there are also different details. This contagion is particularly easy to spread among close people, for example, among relatives, friends, and classmates. Because people living in the same circle tend to have similar experiences and perceptions. Once one person develops a false memory, it becomes particularly easy for others to accept this memory. Yes, it's very easy to be influenced. This Uncle Matt situation is particularly like this kind of contagion. It's possible that someone had a false memory. When mentioning this person named Matt, the people around mistakenly thought he was a relative of someone's family, and then passed this information to their family, spreading it from one to many. Within the family, it keeps echoing and spreading, forming the shadow of Matt. It spreads from 1 to 10 because the whole family consists of 10 people. As for Pan Bowen's situation, it is definitely not contagious. It's his own, right? Now, due to the development of the internet, people's cognitive distance has become increasingly closer, and it no longer has anything to do with physical distance. So online, people can be very close and can also infect each other with this kind of false memory. In general, memory is unreliable. It can be reshaped, not only by oneself, but also by others. The key is that regardless of who reshapes it, the biases in our memory are something we cannot detect ourselves. By the way, regarding the reshaping of memory, on July 26, 2013, an MIT research team published a paper in Science detailing how they reshaped the memory of mice. The paper's title is Creating False Memories in the Hippocampus, Is Your Memory Real? How did they conduct this experiment? They placed a mouse in a comfortable environment, allowing it to enjoy and feel secure in that setting. During this period, they marked the brain cells associated with its memory of that particular place. They marked the brain cells associated with its memory of that environment and then placed it in a completely unfamiliar environment. In this new environment, they used lasers to activate those memory brain cells, causing it to recall the original environment. At the same time, they administered a mild electric shock to cause pain. After some time, the mouse adapted to environment B, and when they returned it to environment A, they found the mouse felt extreme fear towards environment A. Although the electric shock occurred in environment B, it recalled environment A, meaning they successfully implanted a negative memory of environment A in the mouse. The bad memory in environment A causes it to feel fear when it returns there. This doesn't really prove anything. It shows they implanted a memory, a false memory. The sensation of pain wasn't in environment A.
Generation, but he can adapt fully, just in future, any environment.
In all environments, but he won't fear in environment B, right? Yes. Due to the electrical tech, they triggered his memories from environment A. Let him.
Let's return to a closed environment. There, it'll feel relaxed.
They won't feel fear, but will feel uneasy about something once comfortable. Even if he wasn't subjected to any abuse in the darkness, this experiment proves that memories can be completely fabricated and shaped. There are many famous movies that talk about this, such as Inception, Memento, and I also really like Vanilla Sky. It completely creates a memory, allowing people to live in a beautiful memory. Memory biases can occur not only among related individuals, but also among completely unrelated people. For example, the Mandela effect, where people all over the world believe Mandela has died. Additionally, there are similar mythological issues worldwide, right? If myths were truly the imagination of ancient people, they should belong to a kind of fabricated memory. This kind of fabricated memory can be seen in similar forms all over the world, which is not easily explained by contagion or simultaneous influence.
I see.
Exactly. In reality, we're not saying this myth is true. If we simply view it as a product of imagination, it's difficult to explain it using the previous hypothesis. We can only use Jung's concept of the collective unconscious to explain it, suggesting that human thoughts, including the memory aspect, are fundamentally similar at a deep level. It could possibly lead to a widespread false consensus, reaching a certain consensus in imagination. Of course, besides the psychological explanations of the Mandela effect and the collective unconscious, there are also two physical theories that can explain this phenomenon. One theory is parallel universes. We talked about the double slit experiment, showing interference between parallel worlds. Uncle Matt could exist in another parallel universe, his relative. Another alternate universe interfered with this one, causing individuals in this world to have faith in Matt. And alternate universes? There are numerous of them. Consequently, the recollections about Matt are diverse and intertwined. So why is it so disordered in their family? Because only they possess a connection with Matt. It's just that Matt doesn't exist in this alternate universe. As for why he doesn't exist in this alternate universe, there is one final explanation. The family of the cosmic censor.
Matt said he can't show up. There might be bugs sometimes.
Indeed, Uncle Matt truly existed in the past. However, due to some inexplicable reason, the cosmic censor decided to erase him.
Confidential aquatic creature.
Yes, about a part of his memory. It wasn't completely erased. Bits and pieces remained in the hearts of his family, especially I think in their shared memories. There is a part that mentions Matt. Not good at math. This is something the cosmic censor altered, even though he was clearly a physicist. The cosmic truth he wasn't supposed to uncover was erased by the cosmic censor, and along with it, his... They modified some of his characteristics and said this person wasn't good at being a sage. Surely he discovered some core truth that got erased. There are 4 possible explanations for this. Regarding Pan Bowen, there's another explanation. It might be Jubar. Well, Pan Bowen is most likely Jubar because the author, being isolated by classmates at school, imagined a companion, a friend. This person would play with him, play badminton with him, watch games with him, study with him, and help him escape his worries. Such is the existence of this person. And what about yours? Actually, I think it could be you.
Yes, it's the protagonist.
Accompany you to escape reality.
Certainly, there are probably others who have also observed him as well.
You have to find that person. If you can't find him, it's like you're clueless.
Why did he eat 6 of them?
Jesus' post is advanced. In any case, you are able to create Pigsy freely, alright? Okay, lastly, regarding today's content, there's something I'd like to ask of everyone. The matter I discussed today comes from the world's largest forum, Reddit. I mentioned it earlier, but I didn't say which section it came from. This particular post was created in a section known as No Sleep, which is a highly recognized and well-known section on the platform Reddit. When posting and commenting on this discussion board, there are specific rules that must be adhered to. I also hope that beneath today's video, if anyone wishes to comment, they should comply with these guidelines. The foremost rule is the first-person narrative rule. When posting on this board, you are required to narrate your story in the first-person perspective. You can't say, "What happened to my friend?" or "What happened to someone I know." It must be first person and something you experienced.
Did the second individual report the occurrence? It's genuinely real indeed.
How do you know?
The second regulation is referred to as the authenticity rule. Every post within this section, regardless of whether it is true or false, must be articulated in the manner of a genuine occurrence. Oh dear. It might be true or false. You must describe it with genuine word of mouth. Well, hey, even the comments must be made as a character from this story to continue. That's not it. You must indeed be a relative of Amanda to provide a comment. In any case, you have encountered this particular situation and you absolutely need to know Uncle Matt in order to comment, alright?